Damn it! No! Results day! Welcome to the video! I'm your failed teacher, helping you find success in failure. And this is quite a big one for me. My GCSE results. Just to be clear, my GCSE results from when I left school back in 2007. I'm getting old. This once used to be something I was really embarrassed about. Now I can't shut up about it. I use it as a great motivational tool for students who, looking to achieve, but particularly students who are looking to achieve after perhaps an unsuccessful year or unsuccessful time at school. And in this video, not only am I going to tell you sort of why I failed some of my GCSEs, I'm also going to give you tips on what I could have done to not fail and what you could be doing. But also, I'm going to give you some hope in that if you are watching this and you've maybe not done as well as you have hoped, maybe not in GCSEs or something else, the results you get from school or any kind of test really, yes, it's a dark day in your history, but it doesn't have to impact your future. I still went to university and I still got a degree. It might be ironic that it's in education, but there you go. I mean, the most important thing that you can ever do whenever you don't achieve something is to reflect and ask yourself why. And that's exactly what I'm doing in this video. So, let's talk about results. So, before I sat my exams, like every pupil should, I had to sit down with a teacher and we looked at what I could look at achieving. And they picked out 3 GCSEs I should definitely be getting: Maths, English Language, and ICT. Maths, I actually thought I would achieve. It was the only subject where I did actually feel bad to the teacher because I felt the teacher gave me a lot of time and attention and I did feel like I failed her. Okay, I just quickly sorted everything out because I've just realised that I've got my A-level results in here as well. Now, if you do want to know what my A-level results were, put a comment below because I wasn't going to do them because generally speaking that's quite a success story. I did well in my A-levels, well for me anyway. But for now, as I said, maths, D. It doesn't actually show a score. I'd like to think I was close to the C. I think what went wrong here was I didn't do enough practice papers. I did revise. I remember having this, I had this book and I was going over certain things, but I think for maths, it's just do the tests, do the mock papers, do one after the other. And then every time you do one, you go through it because you normally get a mark scheme, go through it and see how many marks you get. And where you lost marks, you know that's the area you need to work in. And that's what I didn't do, and that's why I didn't think I stretched over to a C. I've always felt bad about that. I've always been a little bit disappointed because the school provided test papers, I think. They provided mock papers. So it wouldn't have took much to do, but this is it. I didn't take much ownership of my own education. I didn't really empower myself. I just went into the lesson, listened to the teacher, then I went out, and then I just forgot about it all. I maybe did 20 minutes a night just looking through a textbook, but I wasn't really targeting my areas of weakness, or I didn't even know what my areas of weakness were. So yeah, if you want to do better at maths, better at any subject really, but for anything like maths or science where it's a little bit more scientific, do the papers, do the past papers, practice the areas where you've been weak on, and you will get better each time. And yes, with every past paper, just mark your grades, and if it's fun, and do a graph and show how your grades are going up. That would be perfect for maths. And if there are any areas where you just don't get in, speak to your teacher, empower yourself, speak to your teacher, get some help. So that was maths, but I also said English language. Now, I loved my English teacher. I was really hopeful that I would scrape into a C grade, but unfortunately, again, I've just missed out and I got a D, and I don't have the scores. I don't know how close I was. English literature was an E. I always knew it was going to be an E. I really struggled. You know, I love Shakespeare now. Hated him back then. Again with English, I was one of these kids who were like, how do you revise English? And the way you revise it is by practicing analysing the question. Know what the question is asking you and know where your marks are going to be. I worried so much about my answer that I wasn't concentrating on the question and what it was really asking of me. It's like the opposite to maths. Where in maths, you're obsessing over the answer. What is the correct number? Or whatever it is you need to do. With English, you need to make sure that your answer reflects the question. And it's practicing reading questions and understanding what it's asking you. I might do a video on that actually, because it is a bit tricky at times. ICT! B! I couldn't believe I got a B. You know, I was hoping for, 3 C's. In the 3 subjects I wanted to achieve 3 C's in. So far I've got 2 D's and then I saw this B. I was like, what's going on? I've always been somewhat savvy around computers and tech, and I kind of just flew through it. I didn't even revise for ICT. It was largely coursework. There was an exam, but it was largely coursework and Excel spreadsheets. You know, I'm quite lucky in that, because that gave me a little bit of glimmer of hope that I could achieve a grade C or above. Which, if you're watching this, future generations, a C for us was like, I think, a 4 for you, where it's kind of like, that's the grade that most places want you to get. Make sure you get your coursework right. Okay, it's a great opportunity to really score some marks, and then the more marks you score, the less pressure there is on that last exam. So English literature, again, it was analysing the question, but you need to be familiar with the literature. You really need to read through it. I did go on to do a combined English GCSE where I did language/literature, and I had to look at a Shakespeare text again, and I was like, no, I hate Shakespeare, but I ended up really enjoying it. And I think what really helped was doing some practice questions, like I say, with maths. But I had a few, when I redid my GCSEs, I had a few more sort of study buddies. I had a few people I could speak with, and comparing their answers to mine, I learned their positives, they learned mine, and you know, 2 heads are better than 1. I picked up just as much learning from my colleagues, my peers, as I did from the teacher. So yeah, that's actually a great tip I've just come up with just now. Have some study sessions, learn from your friends. You'd be surprised what you pick up. So yeah, religious studies, F, business studies, G. I just wasn't interested in those subjects. I just couldn't connect. I probably stayed off those classes the most. I don't know why for business studies. I mean, I picked it, so maybe I should have showed a bit more of an interest, but I just couldn't get my head around it. DT, graphics, I kind of enjoyed it, but I didn't really understand what made a good grade, if I'm honest. I don't think that was, in every respect of the teachers, I don't think that was really made clear to us. I think better communication with my teacher, maybe on my part, just say, how do I pass this GCSE? Or maybe just getting the course specification off the internet and just seeing what I needed to do. You know, I was too, you know, I can slate my teachers all I want. I was a little bit passive, and I should have got a little bit more involved in my own learning. And that's a great advice. Empower yourself. As I keep saying, empower yourself to do your own learning. History was kind of the same. I enjoyed history. I really did. And I was kind of sad because I really liked my teacher, and I wish I did a better grade, but I got an E. A little bit like English, in that I didn't understand the questions that were being asked. I think there was some knowledge gaps, to be fair. So I think for something like history, you really need to make use of mind maps and be like, 1945, XYZ happens, and you've got all these things. I think you have to really know your stuff for something like history. And lastly, I can't find it, but science. I was never going to do well with science. I loved biology. Physics was kind of cool in that it was kind of like maths in a way. Chemistry, completely lost me. I mean, I love chemistry now that I watched Breaking Bad. I really wish I was into chemistry, but no. Science, like sort of maths, you need to do the practice papers, you need to do your subject knowledge, but have a lot of communication with your teachers. If you're like me and we had a teacher for each one, chemistry, physics, biology, make sure you're sort of communicating with each one of them and you're keeping it level. You might be like me and I was really partial to biology, but if you're only good at biology, and you're doing like a double award like I am, as much as you're good at biology, if your chemistry and physics ain't there, it's going to pull your overall grade down. So you can't get that balance right, and that's why you got to speak to all the teachers and make sure you are where you need to be. And that's it. That's all I really wanted to go through. Hopefully you took some tips from me and how I could have done better at my own GCSEs. I did do my A-levels and I achieved those grades and I got a degree. So as much as I didn't do too well at my GCSEs at school, dictate or have a negative impact in what I went to go on to do in the future. I mean, yeah, things were a little bit harder. I mean, I wanted to redo my GCSEs and the college I had in mind kind of said, no, you know, you failed them at school, we don't want your failure on our books. And that's because a lot of educational places do, unfortunately, look at the stats rather than the pupil themselves. And that might be a video I do, sort of the way an education provider looks at you and what the value you're going to bring to that education provider. So well worth subscribing to hopefully see that video in the future. If you want to see it sooner rather than later, comment below and I might bump it up the schedule. It doesn't matter if it is GCSEs, A-levels degree, or even something not academic in sports or anything. Just because you haven't achieved what you wanted to doesn't mean you can't go on to achieve it in the future. And most importantly, and I can't say this enough, academics, GCSEs, A-levels, that is just one way of being intelligent. I believe in a person called Gardner's multiple intelligences. In that, I hope it's Gardner, in that we have multiple intelligences. We can be intelligent in lots of different ways, musically, sports that has an intelligence of its own, creativity has its own intelligence. There are a lot of ways that we can be intelligent, and this is why I'm thinking of doing a video on the most intelligent people who don't have formal qualifications. I might also do one on like people who have got qualifications but do something completely different than academically. I really want to see you in my subscribers list and see you every week in these videos. I'm loving making them. I love being your failed teacher and helping you find success in failure. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye!